All right, recording this 7:30, the 21st of May. Yeah, make sure to guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're watching because it helps thumbs up, it helps. Like I saw like it's like 65% of the people who watch like brand new audience. If you're brand new audience coming from the interviews, the Swin and the Cohen and all that, make sure to subscribe, guys. More great content from me and Nolan. I wanted to start off the pod with the Kwame Brown situation, which was probably the best thing on Twitter, even with all the playing games. It's probably the best thing on Twitter right now.
Oh, the best
Like,
in the
like if you guys don't know what happened, right? So on all the smoke, I guess Gilbert Arenas was there talking about his time in Washington, and he, of course, Kwame Brown is always going to be the butt of people joke since he was the first overall pick, which is about Kwame Brown, right? Him being the first overall pick, like in terms of basketball, like he is a bust. Like we can't get it fucked up, but he is a bust. But in terms of life, he's not a bust. Like I understand, like in life, he's not a bust. Like in life, he took care of what he was supposed to do, and all the back and forth. What you think about it, Nolan?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like I mean, it is important to keep in perspective, like that. Kwame Brown is a bust. Like, there's no like quarrels about that at all.
Yeah,
But like, from some dude that's been, I think he was like the first player from drafted directly out of high school.
yeah,
I
to
mean,
go number one, yeah.
yeah, like I mean, to be under like the microscope from the time you're 18 until now, and like this is the first time I actually know what his flipping voice sounds like.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm glad that he's kind of like making something out of it, taking the most out of the opportunity. It's been entertaining. Like it's been so funny to sit there and watch. Like literally, probably the best thing I've seen on the internet in like a few years now has been this. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel, I'm glad that he's basically, like I said, just like kind of like speaking up for himself and like making his own role out of it. What do you think about it?
No, it's interesting, right? Because he said that Jordan drafted him with the intent to trade him for Elton Brand, and at the time, Elton Brand was putting up 20 and 10, and could have helped those Wizards teams way more than Kwame did. And
For
I could,
sure.
and knowing Michael Jordan, like competitive and how much of an asshole he can be, especially if you're trash.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest to hear that.
Yeah, right. Especially after watching The Last Dance.
Uh,
Yeah, you could tell what Kwame went through, especially an older Michael Jordan,
right.
right?
He doesn't time for no rookie nonsense. 18-year-old kid.
And Kwame's career is like he's a serviceable. He was a serviceable role player, right? He put
Well,
10
yeah.
years.
He was never gonna live up to number one overall draft status.
Yeah, I mean only a few do, right? If you really look,
Right.
yeah. But he came right out of and to all fairness, that was a pretty weak draft. Like Eddie Curry came right after him, Tyson Chandler. Like it wasn't the deepest draft, right? So
Right.
if they was gonna take a chance on somebody, I guess that was I don't know, but quite like he played 10 years and he kept getting contracts. So you know, I guess it's just funny, right? Because he was coming
And
at
people took chances on him. The other people saw the upside too. Apparently, I mean, the Lakers signed him after his initial deal. So I mean,
he said, yeah, me and Kobe scored 82 and we won. You saw the screens I was saying. Yo, homie,
literally the combined total score of 82.
you saw this, well, but you saw the screens I was setting though.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, it's the
But
whole thing is so ridiculous and over the top.
how do you like that show? Have you watched all of the smoke?
I've only watched it like once or twice, to be honest with you. I haven't really watched a ton of it yet.
It's a pretty dope show. Like they be
Yeah,
having.
no, from everything I see, it seems like it's pretty decent. And like, I mean, even like we said that earlier, like the Kwame Brown stuff, you can't like really be that mad about him for making jokes about Kwame Brown.
Yeah.
That's
And
I think that's like, the most like the best part of this is just like from like a fan perspective, you can kind of sit back and enjoy like every side of it. You can enjoy like the revenge Kwame like side of it, and you can also and like still like sit there and laugh at the fact that yeah, he was still a bust though, and like hey, it's the best of all worlds as a fan.
and then the edits just make it 10 times better.
Oh,
The,
dude, every single one. You keep getting better and better.
The one you sent me today, the Ether, the Nas one, I was in
Yeah.
tears. I was like, oh, there's no way. And then the hit him up one was hilarious.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. All right. So switching on to something that's way more serious. The playing games. So in the Eastern Conference, the Wizards went up against Boston, and Charlotte went up against the Pacers. Tatum went for 50. Like, and I told you that was the exact reason why I did not want to play him against. Like, even
Yeah.
now, like even watching that, because I watched that game a second time, and in the second half they made adjustments. Like, it was
Oh,
pretty
definitely.
impressive. It was pretty impressive what they did in the second half.
It was
Uh,
weird. Like, I was watching most of that game too, and like Tatum scored 50, but like it was like a kind of like in a weird way, it was a quiet 50.
yeah, yeah,
You
efficient
know?
as hell.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, like it wasn't like I don't know. Whenever they told me like on the TV that he scored 50, I was like, oh shit, he scored 50? Like, I don't know. Like I didn't yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just a really efficient, good outing for him. And being like the best player on a team like that and still being able to be that efficient of an outing is like super impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And the Wizards just broke down defensively in the second half, and then Westbrook and Beal couldn't get it offensively,
Yeah,
and
Westbrook didn't look great.
yeah, yeah, and he's pretty much the engine of that team, right? So if he starts, not making his mid-range shots and the passes, he starts getting sloppy, the 50 bomb is gonna happen. Um, the Charlotte game against the Pacers just blew him out the water. I was expecting way more of a competitive game. What you thought about that?
I was too, honestly. I mean, with like LaMelo back, I mean, I know he hasn't really been like incredible coming back since the injury, but I mean, I expected the game to at least be competitive going into the fourth. The fact that it was a blowout, I think surprised pretty much everybody on that.
And Sabonis destroyed them, like destroyed them, and it
Yeah, I
just
mean,
and it just emphasizes their big man problem, right? With they didn't even play Bismack. They played Tyler Zeller like 40 minutes and had
mhm.
PJ Washington back in. Like, it's a bad situation what they have at the center. They have to upgrade. They have to spend some money at that position.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, there's options out there. I mean, you saw this year, even with us signing like Nerlens to a 1 year, $5 million deal, that there's always going to be some value bigs like that out there in the market that just don't really bring much to you on offense, but they're solid defensive bigs that you can find.
Yeah. Switching over to the West, the Spurs and Memphis game, that was a really good game. Uh, Memphis
It
came
didn't
out.
it didn't look like it was going to be a good game.
But it ended up being a really good game.
Uh-huh.
I told you, like, when Memphis came out the gate, I texted you. I was like, "Yo, this game looks like it's over." Like, Memphis came out
Yeah.
hot, and Valanciunas looked like Shaquille O'Neal in 2000. Like, god damn.
Yeah, there's no any answer for that.
And it's funny because Jakob Poeltl, their center, he's like listed as one of the best defensive big men, like statistically. Obviously, if you're watching the game, it's a different story, but
Right, right.
statistically he's supposed to be one of the best big men, and he just got destroyed. Him, Gorgie Jang, Eubanks, who have that third string center that they have, like,
Yeah.
he was eating it. Man, it was noticeable. It was really noticeable. What you thought about that game?
Yeah, I mean, that game was like, I mean, it was definitely better in the second half. I mean, like, I thought it was really impressive to see Jaw put together a pretty complete game because, like, I know a lot of people were comparing him to like, not comparing him to Westbrook or players like that in the same vein as like their overall game, but just like the attack first point guard and saying that like he couldn't shoot threes and all this stuff. And not that he had an incredible game or anything, but I mean, I don't know. Jaw just seems like one of the better young point guards that I remember seeing in a while.
Yeah, no, he was really solid that game. This Spurs, man, I don't know the Spurs. I can't just help but think about the Spurs that whole game. I don't know what's their future. They're trying to go young. I don't know what they're gonna do with the DeMar DeRozan situation. If they're just gonna let him walk, because if they let
Yeah.
him walk, they could have traded him and got something for him. They wasn't gonna do anything this year. I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be
It's a tough
interesting.
situation because I mean, like DeMar DeRozan, like he's a good player. He has a spot somewhere in this league, definitely. But I mean, just at what dollar amount does it make sense to
Yeah,
like bring him back to the Spurs?
yeah, for sure. That's gonna be a big question. Like if he stays with the Spurs or where he goes in free agency.
Mm,
The Warriors and Memphis supposed to play tonight. As soon as we get off this pod, I'm pretty sure the game would be on. Uh, what are your predictions? You know,
which game? Sorry.
the Warriors and Memphis.
Oh, this one tonight.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, you know, everything in my like heart and gut wants to say the Warriors because they just seem like the better team. I mean, you saw how close they played the Lakers, but then kind of like I was messaging you the other day about is just like if you add another lottery pick to that Warriors team, like it's gonna be really, really interesting moving forward, and they have like a potential to really set up like a not like a maybe yeah I mean yeah like a Spurs like dynasty even.
yeah. No, for sure, right? Because they do have Minnesota's pick, and that pick is probably one of the better picks in a long time in like league
Mm-hmm.
history. Like that's probably one of the best picks you could have.
Oh yeah, they
This
got a
draft.
steal out of that
And then they
trade.
still have Wiseman, right? So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
they could move. Say like Bradley Beal decides, all right, I want to cut. They could compete with the Knicks with an offer with a solid. You getting Wiseman, you getting like say like the third pick in this draft,
Yeah, their future's just as bright as any of these like up and coming teams.
and it's scary because we just saw. Like we can get into this because we just saw how Steph played this whole season. He's an NBA MVP finalist, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna have a whole bunch of talent coming in. They already have, a defensive one of the better defensive players in the league. And you saw how he played Anthony Davis in the playing game. Like Anthony Davis was
Yeah.
struggling to get his shot off. He was struggling to get in position. He looked very passive in that game. What was your thoughts on the Warrior Laker game? It was a classic though. It was a classic.
Oh, it was a great game, and especially that first half gave you a lot of like throwbacks to the that like was it the 72 win Warrior team?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. The
like
3-point shooting and all that.
yeah, to me it was so like it was all based around Steph, and even without Clay, you saw like you said Draymond like really stepping up his defense on AD and really working out of like whenever they double team Steph, they just passed it to Draymond and he would work that 5-on-4, and it was just so impressive to see that he was still able to do that at that level because you don't see it all the time from Draymond because like it doesn't pop out to you on the stat sheet things that he does all the time. But like that game, I mean, I can't remember what his stat line was exactly, but I remember looking at it and being like, "That's the most like Draymond Green like stat line." Just because did like a little bit of like everything, like one or two of something in almost every category, and it's that team just so well constructed, and the fact that they're gonna be adding like the level of talent that they're having with Clay coming back. It scares me.
And they got some dogs, man. I like Toscano Juan Anderson, whatever his name is. I like him. He's a good role player. He brings
Oh, for
that
sure.
energy, that toughness. He was shooting the ball extremely well. Him and Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole hit a couple of clutch shots.
Almost
Uh
had a crazy dunk.
Man, he almost bodied LeBron. I was like, I jumped out my seat. I was like, damn, he almost got him, but he's
Yeah.
too weak. He's too weak. LeBron was not gonna let that
Honestly, I don't.
slide.
I was surprised they didn't call a foul on that, but
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's LeBron. He'll get away with it.
And then the shot that pretty much sealed the game. He's talking about he saw three rims. Like, come on, bro. Just take the just bro. It was a great shot, and just leave it as that. We will remember this shot forever.
Yeah, you don't
Just
need to add all the extra, make it seem crazier than it really is. Like you see, CJ McCollum tweeted out about him.
yeah. He's an actor, man. Come on. And my dad is a huge LeBron fan. Like
uh,
he's like one of those Knicks fans that like are just tired of the BS. Like he doesn't even like he's not really too inspired by this season because he's been a Knicks fan. Like he's tired
yeah.
of it.
At this
So
point, you're just like expecting it.
yeah, yeah. So it's just like he won't care unless it's like some longevity. Like he sees it like the next 2 seasons. I think he'll be 100% on board.
Uh huh.
But he was saying how like LeBron was like he was just we were pretty much just super excited about the shot. and he was saying how LeBron is probably the greatest player he's ever seen. And I don't know about that. We can get into a whole debate about Jordan, LeBron,
That
but
could be a whole pod.
that could be a whole pod. But me and my dad were going back and forth after that game. Like nah, like, nah, that's not happening. Like it was a good shot, man. Uh, We got to
Yeah,
see them
yeah.
in the playoffs.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, LeBron didn't even look like 100% that game either. You saw like he had trouble with Wiggins in like the paint a few
Yeah,
times there,
yeah,
and like, I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see how healthy they come out in this actual series. Because I mean, I don't think they'll have any problems in the series, but I think that they'll be able to. You'll be able to see if like injuries are really going to be an ongoing issue throughout the whole playoffs.
for sure, right? So like they play the Suns, right? And then it's going to be interesting because the Suns just don't have the big man to throw out there on the court on like because the Lakers have Drummond, they got Montrezl Harrell, they got Gasol, they got Anthony Davis, they got they got a couple of big men, and like Suns only got really Aiton and Dario Saric and
Yeah,
Jalen
I like
Smith
Aiden a
from
lot though. Aiden had like an underrated season. He's put up like 18 points a game or something crazy.
yeah. I mean, he's a solid player, but he's gonna be defending Anthony Davis, and
Oh yeah,
you know, it's just I think it's a lot to ask for him defensively.
definitely.
I think it's a lot. I think that's going to be a big point in the game. But the Suns are super competitive defensively on the wings. LeBron James he's gonna have like it depends, right? Because you got to see how he comes back from injury and how he adapts. Because Jay Crowder is gonna be physical with him. Mikal's gonna be is long, could be physical with him. It's gonna be interesting. Devin Booker, if they're even gonna be competitive, take this to 6 or 7. Devin and Chris Paul got to play out of their minds.
Do you
That
think do you think going into the series that the starting lineup is going to be with Andre Drummond in the starting lineup, or do you think Davis will play the five?
Interesting, right? Because I know Anthony Davis doesn't like playing the 5 at all.
Right, him and
But
Porzingis always didn't like playing the five.
yeah, but the Lakers are the best when he's at the 5, right?
Definitely.
Right. So they'll probably start out the game with probably Drummond or Marcus Gasol out there. But as
Mm.
the game goes, they probably not do that because it's it. I don't know. Because their best basketball is played when AD is at the 5, and
Oh,
I think a
definitely. I
lot of
mean, I heard on the that Zach Lowe podcast I was listening to today, they said that I think Davis is plus 25. Like Davis at center, they're plus 25 per 100 possessions, which is in the 99th percentile of like all offensive lineups and the 99th percentile of all defensive lineups.
yeah, it's
It's
going
just like
that's ridiculous.
they're absurd whenever AD plays a five, and I just at what the thing I always it was a concern to me, like I said, whenever Porzingis was here, because I always thought he was better off at the five just because the mismatches you create. And I understand, like in the regular season, you don't want to match up against be posting up against like Mark Gasol for 82 games if you're Porzingis or like AD or like against some traditional center.
All that banging.
All right, and that takes a toll on your body. But I think like in the course of a playoffs, especially like a mismatch playoff series, that like if that's really like that much of your lineup, I think it's something you kind of like almost have to make your player do, even if he really doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Defensively, it's gonna be interesting to see what Schroeder, Caruso, THT, what's their scheme against Booker and Chris Paul because the Suns they like to throw Booker on the elbow and let him operate. It's gonna be interesting if they throw double teams at him right away or they're gonna let him heat up. It,
That was one thing you saw a little bit out of down the stretch where you saw Aiton whenever they would double team Chris Paul or Booker, that he actually did a pretty good job passing out of situations, kind of like with Draymond. That whenever he'd be playing, like if they were double team him, he would just find the open man and they would just hit that and turn that into like really.
yeah, yeah, it's I think he developed. Yeah, it's a good part of his game that he developed.
Yo,
Hello, hello. Go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying, Aiden did a really good job like passing out of whenever there was double team and one of the guards, it would pass to Aiton, and Aiton would do a really good job at finding the open man and knocking down a shot. And that's something that, I mean, I think that's really going to be the key to that series being competitive is the health of AD and LeBron, and then B, just how well the Suns, their rotational players, their role players really knock down open shots whenever they get the opportunity.
Who you got winning?
I think the Lakers still win probably in 6 games, maybe 7. But I mean, I don't know. It's just really hard for me to pick against the Lakers right now. What about you?
If the Lakers are slowly getting into the process, 6. If the Lakers are back into rhythm and they're good and they come out the gates, I don't think Phoenix has enough talent. Probably 5. If the Lakers are, if in game 1, if you see them like get up and ready to play, I think it's over in 5.
Yeah.
Next series, I wanted to talk about real quick was the Nuggets Blazers on the West. Interesting series. It's probably gonna be a little bit more competitive than you think because of the absence of Jamal Murray. Uh, it's gonna be interesting how they defend those guards. And Dame and CJ. Capazzo, Monte Morris. I don't know, but Capazzo's a decent little defender. At 5'9", like he'll get up all up in your face. Like he'll play physical. Like I watched a few, the Denver games I saw. Like he's gonna be in there. You saw the annoyance he was against the Knicks, bro.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's had a great start to his NBA career. I mean, he's been, like you said, he's a pest defensively. He's one of those on Matthew Dellavedova
Yeah,
types on
yeah.
defense that just really gets under your skin.
But as far as the series, the keys to me is how well Jokic plays because Jokic has to play out of his mind.
Mhm.
Michael Porter Jr. has to be that second fiddle offensively. It's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting if he
and his
has to.
first time in the playoffs too. So I mean, it's gonna be baptism by fire for a player like that.
I think it's the second time he was in there in the
Oh,
bubble.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah, he had a minute. He had like I think he came off the bench. I think I'm not
yeah,
100%
yeah,
sure.
yeah. That's right.
But if they do want to win this series, you have to at least expect 20-ish points, 22, 23. I don't know if it's a lot to add from him right now, but if they do want to win, he's the second best offensive weapon that they have, right? Off the
Yeah,
ball,
and I
on the
mean,
ball.
the good thing for him too is that Portland's not like a great defensive team either.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, he'll be able to. His strength is offense, and I think he's gonna be able to get a bucket pretty much whenever.
As far as Portland, how do you feel like they're gonna adjust to the series? Because they do suck on defense.
Mm.
Their big man situation, I guess you could like Nurkic is gonna be pissed about the whole Denver getting traded for Jokic for the development of Jokic. I don't know if that's gonna play. He's gonna step up. You know how sometimes guys
Yeah,
take on the challenge. I don't know if
playing
that's
the
gonna
games.
happen.
You see a lot of
Yeah.
that in the regular season. I don't know, when it means a lot more to one player than the other player. When you're in the
Yeah.
playoffs and the 7 game series out, that's gonna take too much into account there.
Yeah, right. And then Norman Powell, how
No,
he guards up, right?
yeah, he's been playing a lot better since. I mean, they started off that trade. After that trade, they played so poorly for a while there. It was really surprising. But towards the end of the season, they really started to get it together.
Ain't it funny? As soon as we spoke about them with Cohen, they turned it up.
Yeah, yeah, we're listening.
Yeah, they turned it up. I noticed. I'm like, yo, hold up. When they started winning all these games, to even not like, and I looked, I'm like pretty much the exact time we made that pod. Like, they've been playing pretty well. Who do you got? Who do you got?
I still probably have Denver.
Yeah. Damn, you do.
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna be a really good series.
nah.
That's
Yeah,
what
this is going 7. This is definitely going 7, bro. But
yeah. I think this and the Heat Bucks are probably the two most competitive series in the first round.
damn, I can't disrespect Damon CJ like that. Without Murray, Jokic is gonna just go down there and beat him by himself.
Dude, yeah. And like you
Uh,
said, it all comes down to Michael Porter Jr., really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I got
But
Blazers in 7. I can't be like that. I got Blazers. I got to think logical. Don't be emotional,
I
Hamza.
want to do it, but I've had my heart broken on so many bets with the Blazers that I'm a little hesitant. I'm gun shy.
Nah, that's me with the Rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Mavericks against the Clippers. Luca's. I mean, like Luca had his way against them last year, right? They threw Paul and
To an
Kawhi.
extent, yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's gonna be interesting because KP don't know how his health is gonna be throughout the series. That's like the major concern with that team.
Always.
Defensively, defensively, I don't know how they could hold up, but offensively, it's probably what's gonna keep them in games. Like Luca creates so much offense. It's gonna be interesting. Kawhi and Paul George. Like Paul George has to play well this postseason to me. Like it's do if you don't play well, Kawhi is going to leave you. He did not sign that extension because he wants to see what's up in the playoffs. Like, how do you think
Yeah.
this series is gonna go, man?
Personally, I still think it's gonna be the Clippers in probably 6 games. I mean, I really Denver just doesn't seem like they haven't really had it all together. And like, I mean, I guess KP is kind of the X factor in that if he is playing like he played in the bubble last year, you saw like how competitive the series was last year, and it
Yeah,
can
it
be
was great. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, you can see it really be a competitive series, but I don't really know where KP's at right now. He's just so erratic in terms of his health and what he can do on defense, especially, and then offense. He's just a little streaky, which he's always been a little streaky. But I mean, Luka is such a special player. He can keep you in pretty much any game. So I wouldn't count the Mavs out, but I just think at the end of the day, the Clippers have too much talent, and that they're not gonna mess around like they did last year. I think they're gonna come out a little fired up about how they played last year, and hopefully see them kind of put their foot on the pedal. What's your prediction for the series?
Definitely the Clippers in 5 or 6, probably 5. I don't like the Mavericks. To me, the Mavericks they just don't step up to the plate defensively.
Mm,
Um,
that's the biggest issue.
yeah, like KP unavailable. Like KP's injury has been like a huge concern
That's what I mean.
because
Like, what are you gonna do? Put him at like, if you want to be your best lineup, you probably have KP at the 5. And is he like even physically like durable enough to bang with big Trey
exactly,
down the road?
exactly. And then I don't even think I don't even think, at least for this season, at least for right now, what he is right now physically, he can't even protect the rim. He can't
No,
slide his feet like he did before when he was with us. He can't do a lot of the stuff he did when
he's
he
a
was in the
shell of
Knicks
himself.
jersey. Yeah, exactly. He is a shell of himself. So the Clippers, everybody's on their game, probably 5, probably 5, and
Yeah,
yeah, right.
Clippers are good, man. They're no one's messing around on that team this year.
And then they got Rondo. And
Mm-hmm.
the only team that I
Playoff
see
Rondo.
knocking them off, yeah, the only team I can see knocking them off is the Lakers, right? Is a healthy Lakers team.
Yeah, and they're not gonna see them, I guess, until the finals or the conference finals. But
And then Utah pretty much plays the winner of Warriors and Memphis. So, you know, switching over to the Heat, switching over to the East, I want to talk about the Heat and the Heat versus the Bucks. I can't wait for this series. I
that's
have
gonna be
my
great.
popcorn, I have my weed, I have everything. I am ready for this
Everything you
series.
need.
Man, I'm ready. A rematch from last year's series. I was shocked that they beat them last year, right? I was like, what the fuck? Even
Mm.
before the Giannis injuries, like defensively, they was on them. And like they have the personnel for Giannis. The only big change is the Drew Holiday edition. Is it that much of a difference for them to win the series against the Heat? Like, what are your opinions, man? So much to
I
think. So
mean,
much.
honestly, like I mean, I'm a as big of a Drew Holiday fan as like anybody. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league year in, year out. But the Heat are just such a matchup issue for them. Like I know um Bam didn't play a ton against Giannis specifically, like matchup wise in the last year, but I think Bam just causes so many issues for a player like Giannis, and the offense that's built around like attacking the rim because of how good of a defender he is, and the amount that like changes their team. Like I think they are a much better team in terms of like they're more versatile. There's different things that they can do now
Like
that they
PJ
couldn't
Tucker.
do. Right. But yeah, I mean it was like the improvement over Bledsoe is huge. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, but I just really still think that the Heat have the edge in that series, and that, I mean, you saw weren't the Bucks up 2-0 last year before they lost that series?
Uh, I don't think so. No, I think they were trailing the whole time, bro. I think they lost in 5 games. No,
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
no. They were down like I think 0-2. I think they were down 0-2 or 0-3.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, I mean,
It
just
was a pretty lopsided series. That's why I said it was like, God damn, like what is going on?
yeah. I mean, that's what kind of also surprised me is that the Bucks didn't play, or that the Heat didn't play Jimmy that game against the Bucks to end the year.
Oh, did they? They
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, they rested Jimmy that game, and it's just like those two teams, like if the Bucks really wanted, they could have like went out there and tried to avoid that matchup again. They kind of went head on into it, and I mean, it shows you that the Bucks aren't scared of the Heat. But I mean, if you give me a comparison between like them and what the Clippers did to kind of avoid the Lakers, I mean, if you're telling me, I think if the Bucks lose again this series, like you're gonna tell me that, like, you wouldn't have wished that your team tried to avoid the Heat at all costs for like as long as possible.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean,
Because
like, I mean,
people make fun of the Clippers, right, for trying to avoid the Lakers,
yeah, that's what
but
I'm
it's like,
saying.
bro,
Until
like,
it bites you in the ass.
yeah. And then when you win the championship, it doesn't matter. Like nobody's talking about the Lakers played a broken up Portland team in the bubble,
Right.
right? Nobody talks about that, right? So
Definitely.
and they beat up on it emotionally. Like that's like the Nuggets pretty much won the championship when they beat the Clippers down
Mm-hmm.
3-1. So they pretty much like people. You're right. People, it doesn't matter because people are not going to talk about it. Your journey to the play, they're going to care about the chip, right?
Yep.
I agree. I agree. As far like who do you got, man? Who do you got? Who do you got? Because so much factors, right? Because Giannis has to overcome the defensive scheme that they're gonna bring to him. He has to have 40, 45 games. Like he has to bring it. He has to be the engine. He has to be the leader of that team. Chris Middleton has to play well. Like that
Mm-hmm.
like Chris, I need at least 25 from you. Like if this is gonna be a championship run, I need you to average 23, 25. I don't know if it's too much to ask from you, but you are a max player, man. And you need to step up this playoffs. Um, Drew Holiday, I'm a fan of Drew Holiday. Maybe not as much as you are, but I am because I did
Mm-hmm.
question if it was that much of an upgrade, if you based on the numbers, because they were like an amazing defensive team last year. But in situations like this, I agree. Holiday is a better alternative than what Bledsoe would give. Um,
Me, it's my. I just really don't like Eric Bledsoe more, more than it is about Drew. But
he's so lost in New Orleans. I think he was pretty devastated from the trade, and I don't know. We'll see what Eric Bledsoe does next year. I don't know. Eric Bledsoe had a terrible year this year.
yeah,
Yeah, but man, I got the Bucks in 6. I
yeah,
got
I have the Bucks in 6 or 7, definitely. I mean, I think it's gonna be a good series, but like, I don't think that. I just don't think there's enough there. That, like, I mean, I don't know if the Heat are what the Heat want to be and what everybody expects the Heat to be and what they were last year. Then
they're not the same team as last year, in my
they're definitely
opinion.
not the same team as last year, but I still think that they're talented enough to stop Giannis, which is crazy because before this year he was the two-time MVP. But I mean, I just think they don't have enough around Giannis yet, or ever really. So I mean, yeah, like I said, probably Buck or the Heat in 6 or 7.
Oh, he's 6 or 7. Okay, okay, okay. All right, all right.
Oh, did you pick the
Um,
Bucks?
yeah, yeah. I
Oh, I
got
thought
the
you meant the Heat. My bad.
I got the Bucks in 6, man. I don't know. I like the Drew Holiday edition a lot.
I really
Um,
liked her. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that's gonna be a big difference. Seeing this team again for the second time in a row in the playoffs. Nah, there's no way Giannis could lose in the first round. I can't vision that. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it went
No,
either
yeah,
way.
it's definitely gonna be a good series regardless.
So the Celtics play Brooklyn, which is not gonna be the most interesting of the first round matchups because we can kind of expect what's gonna happen. Maybe Tatum will have a game, or he'll probably take one, but
Maybe Kemba will have like a throwback game.
maybe,
Give us
maybe,
something to watch.
maybe. But I think this day it's just too much, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they're overmatched. I mean, with Brown, it's like a fun series to watch. I still
yeah,
think Nets win,
yeah.
but without him, it's just that's too much to put on Tatum to try to overcome three Hall of Famers. Like it is what
All,
it is.
all three of them healthy from Brooklyn.
I think so. Yeah, they all played their last few regular season games, or last like two regular season games, or something like that.
And I try to watch at the least Brooklyn games. Is I probably watch like
Yeah,
two,
no, I
but
didn't
like
watch them, but I just remember everybody like tweeting about like, oh, they're finally playing together.
yeah, yeah. I think I watched the only game I watched was vividly like from front to end was that game against the Bucks where Giannis put up like 45 on them,
The only
46.
one I can honestly say I watched like from start to finish was like the one where right after the Harden trade where we put the Knicks play the Nets and KD pretty much
Yeah,
like
I mean, other
single
from the
beat
Knicks
us.
games. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I watched all 70. I watched all 82
Yeah,
niggas. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I watched pretty much all of them, but that KD one sticks out for some reason is like particularly painful because I thought we had a shot to win.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much Brooklyn in five, right? Before we cap off, Bill Simmons he said like he's a big Celtics fan, him and Kevin O'Connor, and they were saying
Mm.
on how they're not even gonna watch this series because every time like they're gonna get whipped by Kyrie. Kyrie's gonna drop like 45 and they're just gonna dap them up. Like this is the most pussiest, scared Celtics team in a while. And I was pretty shocked listening to that because but I can't even he's not even lying, man. This Celtics team is
No, yeah, I was gonna say he's not really making it up. I
yeah,
mean,
but yeah. It's pretty sad. Like Kyrie is pretty much gonna cook him, and then he's gonna get
yeah,
daps and hugs from them.
that's
Like,
gonna be the funny thing is like it's like almost like the ultimate revenge game for like the Kevin Garnett Paul Pierce trade is like
yo,
you just
like
you have Kyrie now and
yeah,
they used to
yeah.
be a Celtic and he's gonna fucking clown you guys and probably sweep you in 4 games, not 5. I mean, it it's gonna be fun to
Yo,
watch for
I
the talent aspect, but outside of watching like individual players, this series shouldn't be that competitive.
I didn't even think about that till now. The Brooklyn and the Celtics
Yeah, it all
trade,
comes full
bro.
circle.
Yo, yeah, that's crazy. Man, if
uh,
I'm Celtics, yo, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. I'm
yeah,
pissed. What?
you thought you got off
Damn,
slick with that Isaiah Thomas trade. Fucking
yeah,
thought.
man, man. So, Celtics. I got the Brooklyn in probably five.
Yeah, yeah, 4 or 5 definitely.
Um, the next series, the Wizards and the Sixers. Beal and Russ, they're gonna go head to head. It's gonna be interesting how who Ben Simmons guards. He's probably gonna be on Bradley Beal because Simmons could probably guard 1 through 4 on that team. Uh, I don't know. They don't have an answer for Embiid though. Like I don't see them stop. Embiid's probably gonna average like 30 to 35 in that series. Um, but it's just the wings, man, and Wizards like the Wizards wings, like Bertans coming off the bench. The
Mm,
others got to produce if they even want it. Even if they have a slim chance, maybe we get MVP Westbrook. Like it's gonna be hard for the Wizards, but it's gonna be an interesting series and definitely one of the more entertaining ones. What
yeah,
do you
yeah,
think?
it'd be interesting seeing how much like Gafford plays at center and how he fares against like Joel Embiid and Dwight Howard. Those are some like dominant bigs to go up
Yeah,
against like a kind of like not like a necessarily huge weak spot for the Wizards, but I mean it's definitely not their strength either. So yeah, I mean Sixers are just so talented this year. I mean they're the number 1 seed for a reason, but I think they sweep this series.
now you do. Damn.
What about you?
Me being a Westbrook fan is just hard to be like, yo, you're just gonna sweep him. I don't know. I think Westbrook gets you at least a game. Beal probably gets you a game. Just being respectful. Like I don't know, because a sweep is just like, but like Philly is just so dominant defensively. Like
Uh,
Thibault has become like Swin said like before, like he's become one of the better perimeter defenders. He's probably top 7 if you really look in the league. Like dude is locked down, especially the schemes they're gonna run this postseason. He's a perfect fit. Simmons is gonna be doing Ben Simmons things. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I just off the respect of Bill and Westbrook, I'm gonna say Sixers and 5. I can't say the sweep because
yeah.
because if they do get swept, how does Beal feel like going into the summer, right?
And if Westbrook plays like he did in that playing game, they're gonna get swept.
Yeah, right. I don't know. And then Scott Brooks is probably the worst coach in the league. Like him and Luke Walton
Yeah.
are like boxing for like the worst coach in the league.
I feel like they hired him to try to bring KD there and then just had no backup plan. Like, all right, I guess we're just gonna keep you here. I guess we'll let you live out this contract because what else are we gonna do?
Oh, I don't know. Like he calls the like timeout to the worst situations.
Yeah, no, he's a horrible
Like
coach.
I don't understand how he still has his job. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So Sixers and 5, you got them sweeping. That'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see how that plays out. Um, last but not least, we're a Knicks pod, so I had to save the last for least because this is probably going to be the most interesting series for us. The Knicks and Hawks, man, like the number one, like the Knicks have been super dominant against the Hawks, super dominant. Like Randall has been damn near Jordan. He's averaging like 37 points against
Up to
them.
like 49% from three or something crazy.
They're not going to be able to guard him. Right? John Collins is too soft, he's too weak,
I think
and
they're gonna put a lot of Capella
but
on it.
Capello's too slow. I
No,
don't
I
think.
agree. And I think Capella's gonna get in foul trouble if they try to do that. But I
Yeah,
think that's like the best chance at slowing down Julius as they have is just like kind of like putting Capella on him and like making him like work in the paint. Because otherwise, if Julius can get to the paint on Collins like all night, it's just not even like it's not gonna be a series if they just let him get that. So I don't know. I think they gotta try something.
I heard. I heard like they're gonna like. I was listening to other pods talk about the playoffs, and they were saying like they should throw DeAndre Hunter in there and see if he
Yeah,
could
I think
guard.
he's probably gonna start.
Yeah, right. Because he's missed the whole year. I'm not really worried about him. Like he's gonna be trying to recover from that injury, and I don't know how
Yeah, he's a
effective.
good
Yeah,
defender, man.
yeah. But how do you feel like they're gonna guard Trey Young? Like, how do you think Tibbs should go about it? Because
It's
the
tough,
Elford and
man,
Frank thing.
because like, I mean, Elf is horrible. Obviously, like everybody knows this. Like I'm not breaking news to anybody here, but I mean, D Rose didn't really do much better guarding Trey Young either. I mean, D Rose isn't like a plus defender at this point in
No,
his
no.
career, and he's not going to be able to handle with his knees players like young and talented as Trey. And I mean, I think Frank can come in and at least make him work for a while. And I know Trey didn't really shoot particularly well against us. He scored a lot of points, but hasn't really been very efficient in the 3 regular season games. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think Trey Young is going to get. I hope at least Trey Young is going to get the whistle that he got in the regular season. And even though DeAndre Hunter's back and by all accounts he's like healthy, I think that lineup adjustment, I'm assuming he's going to start and try to guard Julius. And that's a tall task for someone who hasn't played the entire season. I mean, I don't care how good you are, just you haven't had to defend a all NBA caliber player at that position. And he's definitely like a outmatched physically in terms of like weight and strength and size and everything like that. So I don't know. I think the Knicks take the series in 6, but Atlanta's probably has more overall talent on their bench when everybody's healthy right now. So it's going to be a really good series. It's the playoff series I wanted because I think it's the one we have the best shot at winning. But at the same time, it doesn't mean it's like a walk in the park and it's going to be a sweep for the Knicks or anything like that. What are your thoughts on the series?
Well, like when I think about the series, I think about like how we're gonna guard Trey Young. So, like, like at this point, I think it's obvious that Tibbs is gonna play Elfrid Payton. He's gonna start out the game with Elfrid Payton.
Few minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's gonna try to transition into like D Rose. Maybe Frank gets on him. It's gonna be interesting how they officiate Frank because every time Frank is on the court, he gets
Instant foul.
instant fouls. Like bro, like he
Like
can't touch
before they even
nobody.
inbound the ball, they're calling a foul.
It's like bro, he can't touch nobody. Like it's just Frank.
Nah.
Like Frank has special rules tied to him on the court.
Yep.
And I think in the playoffs they do swallow the whistle a little bit more. And hopefully, Frank could take advantage of that against Trey Young. As far like they do have like a lot of decent scorers in Gallinari and Bogdan and Kevin Herter. It's gonna be interesting how Reggie Bullock. It's gonna be interesting how Tibbs uses Reggie Bullock, right? Because
Yeah.
does he throw him on? Does he throw him on Trey Young? Because Macri last pod that Macri had, he was saying like he would throw Reggie Bullock on him just to start the game, like straight out the opening tip, which is a way that Tibbs can go too. But
But then Reggie gets in foul trouble. Then what?
yeah, exactly. And then Reggie's a big part of our offense, the way he spreads the
Mm,
floor. So it's I don't know. I think Knicks fans saw how we beat them up in the regular season, but they wasn't 100%. Take to play devil's advocate, they wasn't 100% in
yeah.
any of those games. Any of those games.
No, and
So
that's another concern for them. Is just that they are kind of an injury-prone team. That I mean, I don't think obviously they seem the healthiest they've been all year, but you never know what could happen in a playoff series either.
yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Atlanta is coached, how they defend us, on how they defend Randall, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do they allow who they throw on him, and how early do they send the double team? Do they let Randall cook right away, or are they just not allowing his bullshit from the beginning? Right? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Burks, but I would like Burks needs to have with the offensive power that they have. Burks, I need you to average at least 18 in this series. Quickly, I need you to have efficient minutes. Like, can't make mistakes. And
Yeah,
I wonder how much he plays. I wonder how much Tibbs plays, the starters and how much Obi gets in, right?
I think Obi has to see minutes just because of the position he plays. Where like when Randall comes off the bench, like who else do you throw in there? So he's definitely gonna be part of the rotation, but I can't see him really like. I think Tibbs would ideally only play Obi about like 8 to 10 minutes a game at most.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle the Capella thing on the
Mhm.
board. I just right, he's going to eat on the boards. I'm talking 20, 15
Oh yeah, I
boards
think
a
he's had
night.
20 almost every game we played against him when he's played. So 20
Yeah,
rebounds.
so
I mean,
um and that goes for my next thing is like how much minutes is he gonna play Taj? Because Taj is more of a stockier dude and he matches up Capella better than what Noel would, right? Noel has a big problem against heavy set big
yeah, I mean,
man. So
Noel's skinny, man.
yeah, yeah.
Pogo stick, but he's skinny.
Yeah, man. So and then but the garden is gonna be there. It's gonna be man. I haven't
Yeah,
playoff
15,000. Oof.
and then the tickets, man. The tickets thing was
I know. I'm
Dolan.
second guessing now. I might have to make my way out there somehow.
So you saw Dolan in his press conference.
Yeah, I saw that. That was like the most likable Dolan's ever been ever said. So
For sure, yeah, man.
I'll
I'm
take
like,
it. I'll take it. Any positive press on Dolan is well needed.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I never been on that bandwagon with the Dolan thing because it's been obvious, like he hasn't touched basketball. He just hired
Yeah,
idiots.
the past few like since he hired Phil Jackson at least, like he hasn't really been super involved in anything, I don't think.
No, no, I don't know. Yeah, he hasn't. Like, and then I don't know. You know how it's not even us. Like we know, like the core fan base, like we know we're not dumb. We follow the team every day. We know the stuff. It's just the people from the outside.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, all the other like extracurriculars about like James Dolan and like Spike Lee stuff and the fan stuff. It's like I mean it's annoying, but like it doesn't affect the day to day of any players' lives like at all. So I mean, like I don't know, I think this stuff gets blown up a lot, and it's like annoying to deal with as a Knicks fan, especially when you're losing, because everybody can point to that and be like, "Oh, see, this is why you guys are horrible." But like when things are going well, everybody gets a lot more quiet. So I mean, I don't know. I'm happy we're at where we're at right now.
Yeah, for sure. Before we wrap this up, you know, predictions, man, finals predictions, so we could go back when it actually happens and we could see if we was right or wrong. Who do you got, man, in the final?
I got Heat versus Clippers, Doc versus old squad.
Heat versus
I'm not Heat
Clippers.
Clippers, fucking Clippers versus Sixers. My bad.
Okay. I probably got Brooklyn versus the Clippers. Can't
Yeah, I
lie.
mean, yeah, it's
Yeah,
either Brooklyn or Philly, I think. So
and that series is gonna be amazing. Like when
it's gonna be crazy just because the matchups are so wild. Like you can throw Simmons on one of like Harden or Kyrie, whatever, probably Harden, and then Joel Embiid just gonna eat in the paint because they have nobody that can do a thing
what
about
team
anything.
can stop Joel Embiid?
That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
keep it real. They maybe the
What good
Lakers.
team can stop Joel Embiid? Yet alone a team without any real centers. Like I mean, DeAndre Jordan's like ancient. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. He's just not the
Bro, he's
player.
only in the league because he's cool with Katie and Kyrie. That is the only reason
Exactly.
why he's in the league.
Exactly. It's definitely not reason he's a starter. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Blake Griffin, he's actually played more of a big role than people
Yeah,
thought he
I
would
think this first series that he'll probably start at center because I mean I don't think they're playing what Charlotte
in the first round.
or no who are they playing in the first round?
No, we just spoke. They played the Celtics.
Celtics. That's right. Celtics don't really have any big centers. Is what I meant to say. Is they don't really have like any like players that are like that. I don't think they have any like no one that Blake Griffin will really have like
A hard time with,
a
right?
hard time with. Like I think the offensive amount that they'll gain from having him on the floor outweighs any like mismatch that they'll have the other way around.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that we was gonna talk about. Make sure to check us out follow us on Twitter. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. We're on SoundCloud now. Soon we're gonna be on Spotify and Apple. Still waiting for the confirmation. That's in the works. We got some brand new cover art, some sexy cover art.
Ooh.
Yeah, Corner 3 Pod, man. We're the best podcast. Come on, man. And well,
So.
peace out, man.